Here are 3 skills that every entrepreneur should master when starting a business. I want to preference that it's really, really important that you actually learn a little bit of the skill before you start building your business, and then you actually master it while building the actual business and working within your business. Mainly because a lot of your knowledge is going to become very, very niche within whatever your target market is or whatever you're selling. And so you don't want to learn everything beforehand. So you have to unlearn and then relearn for your new clients or your new customers.
Yeah, it gives you the option too to become do you use trial and error as your method of learning? Because if you go, trust me, if you learn sales is different for every niche. Just because you learn sales one way doesn't mean it's going to work for another way.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Okay, so the first skill that we're going to talk about is going to be copywriting. So what kind of copywriting? So what kind of copywriting is important to you?
The main thing is getting emails to be open, right? When you're doing cold emails. So I guess it would just be email flow of the copywriting. That's probably the most important to me. Yeah, so for my agency, copywriting is important for email outreach, the LinkedIn messaging, and then I guess you could argue that copywriting is important for the social media posts in general, but you're mainly just looking for keywords and you're not really trying to optimize your copywriting. You're just trying to optimize how many keywords you're getting in a bio or whatever it is.
Yeah, you kind of want to learn how to. For me, it's learning how to play on emotions. Let's say, for example, you are writing outreach messaging for cold emails or cold LinkedIn messages or cold Facebook messages or cold whatever messages to mortgage brokers. You want to make sure that the copy that you're writing actually plays towards this mortgage broker's fear. So what is this mortgage broker's biggest fear? When you really think about it, you can infer or you can ask them directly. So you can ask them, what is the biggest problem? Never assume what you think their problem is, because you're very likely to be incorrect, because you know so much technicality behind how to solve this problem. They will not understand what you're saying. And so let's say, for example, I'm a marketing agency and I'm reaching out to a mortgage broker and I'm like, hey, I'm going to help you generate X amount of sales in X amount of months. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a funnel for you, and it's going to sell at 3 different layers of the funnel. When they first discover you, right? And so they don't care. None of this matters to them. They do not think they have a problem with their funnel. They think that their sales cycle is too long. They think that they're sitting on the phone all day. They think that they're not getting enough people calling their phones all day. They think they're not networking enough. These are the actual problems, so play towards it. So if you're gonna write copy for them, you wanna write copy along the lines of hey, we're gonna help you shorten your sales cycle. Hey, we're gonna help you get this amount of leads in this amount of months, and you don't need to go out and network. And it's you can stop sitting in front of the phones. They wanna hear these kind of words. You also wanna play towards their goals, not only their fears.
Yeah, so from my knowledge from the mortgage industry, which is a horrible niche, don't go into it. Pro tip, don't do mortgage.
Pro tip from an expert.
Yeah,
Two experts.
From people who've done the mortgage industry. They don't have money and they do not want to invest in growing their business. They just want quick cash. And it's weird to say, but everyone I've talked to is pretty well like that. I've gotten 1 or 2 mortgage clients after months of outreach. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Anyways, their main goal is to brokerage more mortgages. As simple as that sounds, that's how they make money, and they make a commission off of it. And if you get them a mortgage deal that's, let's say, funding $500,000 of a mortgage, they're gonna get $5,000 from it.
Yeah.
It's about 1%. So their main goal is to get more deals, make more connections.
And there's different kinds of copywriting as well. So there's the copywriting for your website that's less so very, very personalized and targeted. It still plays on the target market that you're reaching out to, its emotion, but it might be more broad. And so you might be targeting mortgage brokers in your actual messaging and your prospecting message through email or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. But on your website, you might say financial services instead. And so on your website, you really want to make sure that you're expanding a little bit more on their pain points and a little bit more on their goals.
So number 2 is branding. So branding is really important because at the end of the day, whatever services that you're providing across any clients, there's going to be other people that are going to be providing the exact same service as you. And your branding is really what makes you stand out at the end of the day and diversifies you from everyone else. And so if you don't diversify yourself from everyone else, when you are doing basic emailing or any kind of outreach, no one's going to give you the time of day. So when you're having any kind of branding, it has to be across all platforms, such as your email marketing, your social media accounts, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you're using, your email campaigns, definitely your website, and just everything together has to be showing whatever message and whatever niche that you're trying to target. So for example, for my own company, we're specializing in content creation and social media marketing. If I have social media marketing and content creation on my Instagram account and I'm not posting about making social media content and creating content, then my website does something else, then there isn't like a congruent message across all platforms. And so you want to make sure that you are the same, because if someone finds you on, let's say, LinkedIn and your messaging isn't the same, then they're not going to know that your other websites are even yours and what services you provide.
So you just have to make sure that every aspect of your business actually connects. So that means that whatever you're saying, for example, on video right now, it has to match up with what your website says. It has to match up with what your content is saying. It has to match up with what you're saying on the sales calls, and it has to match up with what your fulfillment is. And so if at any point your either offer, your messaging, your character, your agency, or your e-commerce brand, or your SaaS company, or whatever business that you have, the message breaks at any point, people feel like they can't trust you, number one, or they feel like they don't actually understand what it is that you do. And so sometimes what happens a lot of the times is some companies have multiple offers, and it's super confusing, because if you're sending somebody an email, for example, you're like, hey, we're gonna 3x your revenue in 3 months, and then on your LinkedIn account it says we're gonna 3x your revenue in 3 months, which is great because that connects. But then on your website you say we're gonna go and get you 500,000 views in 3 months. None of that connects, right? For them, it's just like, what do you mean? Like, you have a different offer on your website than you do in your messaging. So like, can you actually do this, or is this just a BS off?
Okay, so another really important part about branding is making sure that you're searchable and that people can actually find you online, because if they can't find you online, to them you don't exist. And so
Google me right now, Brandie Grace Wong, Brandie space GRACE space WONG. Google me.
Yeah. And then in the branding and like you being searchable, and like even if you have newspaper articles, or you don't even have to pay for those, you can literally just start making YouTube videos with your name on the title. Making short form content's probably the best way to do it, in my opinion, in terms of going viral, not having to spend a crazy amount of time on it, and still creating credibility online. In my opinion, my favorite way to do it. However, when you are searchable online, I've had multiple clients. Now, my agency and what I do is now becoming more public, because a lot of clients I did work with previously were private. And so I never had a website. I just did everything through like kind of word of mouth and did it on my own. And so now that everything I'm doing is more public, I'll have clients search me up and the first thing that pops up is my soccer profile. And so it's not right, but because I'm still searchable at that point, people know that I'm a real person, they still trust me.
Yes.
And so I think that point is part of the reason why my close rate is so high, is because a lot of times after the first call with the client, when I get on the second call, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you played professional soccer. And it's like, it's a really good like, oh, he's a real person. Like, I trust him to do this because I know he's real. Even though it's not related to my business whatsoever, but because I'm searchable, it adds that layer of credibility that you need when making a sale.
And it makes you a little bit more personable. It's
100%,
just like, oh yeah,
yeah,
he's like a real person.
Yeah.
He is exactly who he says he is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that a lot of like online business owners forget that like people will research you, like whether you like it or not. So no matter how many ads you run for your business, no matter how much outreach you do, if you're doing outreach, no matter like what you're doing, you can't sell it if you can't even Google yourself,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Because people always think like, oh, I don't need this. But if the only thing that pops up is like probably your website, hopefully, if not even, that would really, really suck, then you gotta do something about it.
At least your Instagram account.
At least your Instagram account.
Yeah, your Instagram account
Yeah.
should be your name, because that's what pops up first for me. And like my Instagram account is like pretty big. It's like 50,000 followers. And like that alone gives me credibility, because my full name, when people look me up, it shows my Instagram account and then it shows everything else.
Yeah.
And so just by having that there is like, okay, this person's doing what he preaches and he's done it successfully. And so I trust him to do my service, whatever your service is. It doesn't have to be Instagram, but you know, as long as you're searchable and you're preaching what you do online.
Yeah, so some ways to make yourself a little bit more searchable that are really, really simple and you can honestly start today is making sure that you choose what professional name you want to go as. I use my middle name just because it makes me a little bit more separate from the other Brandie Wongs in the world. And so when you search up my name, out comes my LinkedIn, out comes my website, because my website has my full name on it. My LinkedIn always has my full name on it. My YouTube channel has my full name on it. And then I have a couple of organic articles that have my name on it as well. And so because I have my name everywhere where it almost works as a endorsement towards my agency. And a lot of the things that pop up are all really informative assets and information that give the people who are searching me up some more information about my character, what my agency does, and the value we've been able to provide to other companies, right?
Yeah, that's really important.
So it's really important to just throw your name somewhere, but make sure you pick a name and make sure you don't use different names.
Yeah, 100%.
Because some people do that.
Yeah. I've seen middle names for like social media accounts, where like they'll be using middle. Like sometimes what people do is, let's say on Instagram, you can't get your whatever your full name is. They'll throw their middle name in the Instagram account, but then when they go to LinkedIn, they won't have their middle name on their account.
Yeah.
And so that can be hurt you. Like if you don't want to use your middle name on one account, don't use it on all accounts. Like don't just pick and choose. Like make it consistent across all platforms.
Yeah, like Drake is Drake.
Yeah.
He's not going as Aubrey.
Yeah.
You know? Like when you search a Drake, who comes up? You know?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That's how you build.
I mean, he got a little more money than you probably, but he can probably spend a little bit more on his Forbes articles. But
yeah. But yeah, just make sure you throw your name and also your company name everywhere. So your name should always be on like the same links as your company name. So Instagram, even your Pinterest. Honestly, if you just wanted like an extra link when somebody Googles either your company or your name, Pinterest. So the third skill that you want to master is you want to master the skill of organization. This sounds very simple, but it's actually not very simple for everybody. But it's important that you get used to being organized, because if you start losing documents or you start messing up your fulfillment solely because you're not organized, you will lose thousands, if not millions of dollars if you're at that level, right? And so a couple ways to get organized is, number one, having a project management tool. In this project management tool, you can use this for a variety of different things. You can throw on automations to it, all that kind of fun stuff. You can connect it to your Slack, you can connect it to your team, you can connect it to your Zoom, your store, everything, right? And so when you have a project management tool, you organize what your team is going to be doing day to day, as well as yourself. But also at the same time, we actually store at Totally Branded, my agency, shameless plug, we store our SOPs, system operating procedures, as videos inside our project management tool. So that way our team can find it really easily.
So a really good example of having strong standard operating procedures, or SOPs, in your company is, so I was recently hiring for a new sales team member and I had to fire someone. And so I was really stressing about the fact that I had to fire them and then retrain a new person, because the person I was getting rid of had worked for me about 4 or 5 months. And when I was finding a new person, it was like having to re-go through like 2 months of training. And when I hired the first person, I was just making my SOPs at that time. And so I made it for that person. It took them, a little bit to train them, and then I found someone, and the person that I found new had already a lot of common information and knowledge in the space. And so when they did onboard them, they just had to watch the videos, and within a day they were pretty well caught up to speed and everything resumed as planned. And so if I didn't have those procedures, it would have just been a pain trying to sit down with that person and trying to teach them when I have other things to be doing in my agency.
Yeah, it creates a lot of longevity if you have standard operating procedures. So that's like the number one biggest thing that you should have within your organization. The next thing is being able to have like a master doc. This is very, very basic. This is very, very simple. Where all of your documents go, they either go into one document or one like section of your task management tool or your project management tool.
So in my agency, we specialize in social media marketing and content creation for clients. And so for me, a really important tool that I could not live without is using a calendar to actually time block. And now for a lot of these clients, I have to post daily on their social media accounts. And if I'm managing 10 accounts, I have to post every single day. If I don't have this time or input it into my calendar in some format, if a post doesn't get made, client missed a post, I lose money. That's how it goes. And so unless I have different things scheduled throughout my day and I'm allocating time when that time is set, things won't get done. And so being able to time block and use a calendar to schedule my next 30 days is really important for me.
And that's pretty much it for today. Just make sure that when you are mastering these skill sets while you are building your business, that you're slowly but surely tailoring it towards your business. Because the more you tailor these skills to your business, the more successful your business is going to be. My name is Brandie Wong. I own a 6-figure agency called Totally Branded. We're an operations and strategy agency, also known as fractional COO for digital agencies.
My name is Tamburro. I also own a 6-figure agency called Sim Agency. We specialize in content creation and social media marketing. Bam.
Bring it to
I'm sorry, they definitely saw the wind up. I was like trying so hard not to, and like my eyes were getting close. I was like,
That was a dad's
yeah,
face, yeah.
they definitely got that.
Yeah.
Felt like a tickle.